Welcome to TAC Talk Shorts. My name is Mel Hartley from the Training Accreditation Council, or TAC. And before we start, I wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land we are recording on, the Whadjuk people. We wish to acknowledge and respect their continuing culture and the contribution they make to the life of this city and this region. Today, I'm thrilled to be in conversation with someone who's making waves in the engineering world and inspiring others along the way. Welcome, Anthony Nelson Burns. Now, Anthony, you're not just any engineer. You're a winner of the WA Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Student of the Year Award and a finalist for the National Award. Congratulations. So let's rewind a little bit. Before this incredible journey, what was life like for you and what sparked your interest in engineering?
So I've been with Fortescue for what have been about 4 years, and then they offered an apprenticeship program. They call it Trade Up, so I applied for it. And then I didn't even get an interview or an email. So one of my bosses sent an email off and said, how come we didn't get looked into? And then I got a phone call the next day that I didn't fill it out properly. So they offered me an interview, and then, I just kept going forward and was pretty much like the highest student out of all the applicants for the aptitude test. So, it was quite a funny story to get my apprenticeship and then to finish it earlier, and a lot of hurdles along the way, but can't believe it.
No, that's amazing. And so were you thinking about doing an apprenticeship before they approached you?
Yeah, I did one before, but I did 3 years of it. I didn't quite finish it, so it took me another 12 years to get another one.
Hey, better late than never, hey?
I always tell my kids, never give up.
Yeah, that's really inspiring. And what were your initial hopes and your worries when you embarked on your apprenticeship journey?
I wanted to have a trade, so I just kept pushing and just trying to show myself at work. And I was looking at doing studies as well as working, but then just knew the right people in the business to talk to and go in the right direction.
Oh, to help you through the apprenticeship?
Yeah, had the right support behind me, and like the people, they just helped me out. They knew that I was pretty smart with what I do, because I'm always been in mining and the processes of breaking down the rocks and that. So they knew that I was pretty cluey onto that. So I just kept pushing, and then eventually got my apprenticeship. It was pretty much a worst stage of life because it was COVID. It was a bit of a challenge because they changed our roster on us from 14 days, 7 days off to 26 days on, 14 off. So,
my goodness. So were you doing the apprenticeship online? Did it change to online, or was it still face-to-face?
So they pushed our TAFE back until we were allowed to have contact in the classroom. So I think we were delayed by a year in our training. But, I just kept pushing. And plus, all the people in my class, they never experienced TAFE side of stuff as apprenticeship, where I've done a little bit, and I was pretty much helping them along the way of the journey.
Did you get much support from the TAFE at all through your apprenticeship, particularly in that COVID phase?
We had it because FMG or Fortescue got their own training, and then they have their own lecturers on site. We had an app we could just talk to, see what we needed to do, and they just relay it back to us so we could just correspond with what they were saying and what we needed to do.
It's good that they did have some sort of support for you guys, particularly being, so far away and during COVID. It sounds like there was quite a lot of ups and downs for you and a bit of challenges. Is there anything specific that you faced during your apprenticeship that was a bit of a challenge that you overcame?
With FMG, we've got, I think, 5 mine sites. So I did a year each one. The first year, I was at Christmas Creek. That was really good. So I wanted to ask for a change to a different site just to see what I'm going to be exposed to. I went there, had a run-in with quite a few people there. But I stood up and spoke, and they pretty much didn't want me to be in that work area. So I said, I'm happy to do that. I'll move along. And I went to another place. That department had open arms, and that inspired me a little bit. And I didn't want to leave, but I had to go on break. I had knee surgery booked in, so I had 6 months off. And then I went to another place called Illawarra. Everyone was telling me they want me back and stuff like that. So.
Oh, that's so good, because I imagine it would have been quite easy for you to just go, I'm not going to go any further. I can't take it anymore, and just finish your apprenticeship. So it's so good that you kept on going and decided to finish it.
Yeah, it was pretty hard. And then I think it was about 10 months while I was at Illawarra. Then my son had a motorbike accident. I was at work, and then he got put into a induced coma for a week. So I had 3 months off work, just to be home with the kids while the missus was at the hospital doing all that. So he's come out of that. So he does have brain injuries, but he's on the mend because he's so young.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Still, despite it all, you decided to keep going and push through to the end. Did you get any support from the organisation that was doing your training? Do you remember when you had to take time off for your knee surgery and for your son?
Yeah, I had support there from work because I finished all my TAFE earlier. Finished a year before everyone else. So in the class, you can they'll let you fast track, and then people behind you, they'll just go along on their pace. So it was self-paced, which was good. And so I finished a little bit earlier than everyone else. So I had that time where I could have that time off.
If I can just ask you a little bit more about the fast track, was that something that you asked about, or did they approach you and say, hey, look, we think you're doing well? Have you thought about going faster or finishing earlier?
I asked them. I know that I've got prior experience. I said, what's it possible of me going ahead on my own pace instead of like sitting around waiting for everyone else? And I know it's good to help everyone, but at the same time, if I'm going way too fast for everyone else, I should just get done quicker.
And you didn't have any problems with going faster? They supported you through that?
Yeah, no, they supported me all the way through. Even the superintendent of the training, he was happy. The supervisor and the lecturers, so they were like so keen for me to do it, and they knew that I was finished way before. And it was good because it meant a lot to me because I had a lot of things in the background of outside of my work, which I just can't believe I still finished with all them challenges behind me.
Oh, it says a lot about your character that you persevered and you not only finished, you finished to such a high standard. I just want to ask a little bit about community. So I understand you're a strong advocate for vocational education, particularly with First Nations people. What advice would you give to training organisations on making sure that they have a culturally safe and inclusive environment for everybody?
Just have a yarn with people, because if you don't get to know them properly, then you don't know what their learning backgrounds, because everyone learns differently. And I think that's the most important thing at the moment is learning. Because I come across a few apprentices coming up to me now telling me they're having struggles, and I said, you can get extra help now because you're at the TAFE. So I've got them to do it because they wanted to quit. And I said, don't quit. I said, you're halfway, so why would you stop now? So there is a lot of support there to help you, so just ask for it.
That's really good. You're obviously inspiring a lot of other people to go ahead and do apprenticeships as well. Just following on from the last question, what are the biggest, in your opinion, biggest systemic barriers preventing First Nations people from pursuing and completing these training programs? Like what could RTOs do to help them?
I think a lot of, for us blackfellas and stuff like that, is talking, like speaking up. We don't, we get shy. And then, if you've got someone in the class that will talk up, then you'll get confidence to talk up. It's just get to know them first. And, once they get comfortable with you, then they will start talking and be more open. Yeah, that's what I found with my group, that I was a more vocal person, and then everyone just followed along.
Okay, so it's about having that personal relationship with the lecturers and the students so that everyone feels comfortable enough to go through the program.
Yeah, so I reckon at the start of it, they should just sit down, not go straight into it, just sit down and have a yarn and, just get to know their backgrounds and where they come from and what their goals are and stuff like that, because then they'll start getting more comfortable and then they'll talk and have a joke and that. And that's where, you get that connection.
It's such invaluable advice. And looking ahead, what's the next move for you? Are you doing more training? Are you doing different challenges? What's happening? More awards? What are you going to do?
Well, I got an email the other day through the company that it's a 9 months program to be a leader. So you can do all this like training in that and you become a leader. So you can be a supervisor after this training and that. But also I want to do my Cert 4 in engineering later on. So, yeah, I just want to do my time on the ground first, and then once I get my Cert 4, I then can look into sitting in an office.
Well, sky's the limit, really. Sounds like you've got everything lined up for your future.
Yeah, and like me, I've got a disability as well. So I did lose my eye. So it just shows that there's no boundaries anymore. Where there was back in the day, now there is no boundaries and what it is, but you can do it.
Yeah, we can all get to the goal because we are all on different paths. It might not look exactly the same as the next person, but we can all still get there. And I just want to say that, Anthony, your story is truly inspiring, and you've not only excelled in your field, you have actively made a difference in the lives of others, as you were talking about with these younger apprentices that you were influencing. So I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your journey with us today.
Oh, thank you.
You have been listening to TAC Talks with your host, Mel Hartley, and award winner, Anthony Nelson Burns.